I met this cute divorced guy who's in town for a couple of days on business. Do you think I should call him?
Well, why not?
Absolutely. And I'm going to call that cute guy I met with the tattoos. Curses are meant to be broken, right?
And I'm going to call Fred.
Fred? You that nerdy guy you play cards with every Sunday?
For the past 20 years.
I thought you guys were just friends.
If the guy's a cutie, you gotta tap that booty.
The legendary Betty White, a hilarious clip of Betty from her hit show Hot in Cleveland on TV Land, now in its third season. There's no end to your talents. I mean, you're on Wednesday nights, you do this new show, Off Their Rockers, which airs at 8 p.m. on NBC, and then at 10 p.m. you're on again, Hot in Cleveland on TV Land. Well, thank God I'm in the middle. I'm the sandwich. I'm the 9 p.m. hour.
Well, I love it, but you can't get rid of me. That's what you're saying, and you can't.
Let's talk about fame. What do you think about the modern curse of fame? Because it's become a curse, hasn't it, to people?
Well, I think, again, it's all attitude, and if you consider it a curse, shame on you. You ought to be grateful for the people who have supported you and make the most of it and enjoy it. You enjoy doing this. I can see that.
I do, yeah.
It's written all over you.
And I think you do. Very, very lucky to be doing a job like this.
Grateful, and grateful. And
I can't stand the modern cult of, particularly amongst younger celebrities, who constantly complain
about everything.
About intrusion, the media, the this is that. If you don't want to do it,
and people come up to me on the street and pester me all the time. Well, without those people, you wouldn't be here.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it's true. And I get ticked off about that. And I bet you do, too.
I do. It really annoys me. It's a real bugbear of mine. When you look back at your 90 years, if I could replay a moment for you, outside of marriages and anything like that, a moment in your life that you would say was the greatest moment of your life, if I could replay it, what would you choose?
The hour and a half I spent in the cage with Koko, the signing gorilla. No.
Really?
Absolutely, really. Koko's a very good friend of mine, and I went up to see her, and Dr. Penny Patterson, who is her mentor, invited me up. So I went up there, and she's in this whole house, this beautiful big house, and there's a little office outside here with some mesh, you know, and wire. So Penny put the stool right up next to the wire, and Koko came over and just put her shoulder up against mine. And pretty soon she started, there's this floor-to-ceiling door, she started pointing to the door and then pointing to a shelf that was outside in the office where we were. And Penny said, oh, she wants to show you her new television set. Yes, so she turned on the television set. No, that was not what she wanted. So she kept pointing. So, and then she'd point to the door, and then she'd point up to this cabinet. Penny said, I'm sorry, Koko, I didn't. She picked up a set of keys. Koko walks over to this door and points to the lock at the top and the lock in the middle and the lock in the bottom. So Penny undid the locks, and Koko undid the one of these things that holds it together, and opened the door, and came out, took my wrist.
Go on, touch me again.
took my wrist and pulled me into her part of the cage, and she sat down against the wall and made it obvious she wanted me to do that. So I sat down opposite it, and I had my hands on her fat tummy. I was in there for about an hour and a half.
Amazing.
It was maybe one of the most magic moments of my
Fabulous.
entire
Well,
life.
this has been my version of the Koko moment. This has been the great moment of my life.
But you didn't have your hands on my fat stomach.
No, but you know what I have got? Your lipstick on my hands, on my chubby little fingers, and that is the greatest moment of my life. Betty White, it's been such a glorious pleasure. Don't keep me waiting 15 more months.
I promise.
Come back.
No, thank you so much.
Let me give you a shameless plug for both your shows. Off Their Rockers airs NBC, 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. Hot in Cleveland airs 10 p.m. on TV Land. You can catch me in the middle of a Betty White sandwich. What a place to find myself. Betty, thank you.
Oh, it's been a joy. Thank you.
All mine, all mine. Coming up, how can you follow Betty White? I know, only in America, a cop handcuffs a 6-year-old child. You won't believe this. For tonight's Only in America, meet Alicia Johnson. She's 6 years old and lives in Georgia. And like many children of that tender age, she can be a bit naughty from time to time. It kind of goes with the territory of being 6 years old. Well, last Friday, she was very naughty indeed. She threw a temper tantrum at her school, the Creekside Elementary School in Milledgeville, and began throwing books and toys around. She jumped on a paper shredder and she tore some stuff off a wall, including a shelf that hit a teacher's leg. So how do you think the school responded to this very naughty 6-year-old girl? A trip to the head teacher's office, maybe? A visit to the naughty chair? Maybe even a request to her parents to come and collect her? Nope, the eminent brains of Creekside Elementary School decided there was only one way to control this unruly 6-year-old girl. Yes, I do keep saying 6, not 16, and that was to call the police. Well, perhaps understandably, this ridiculous overreaction caused Alicia, aged 6, to freak out even more. So the police officer did the obvious thing you do to a 6-year-old girl who's having a temper tantrum, stuck her hands behind her back and handcuffed her. Yep, you heard me. They put a 6-year-old girl in steel handcuffs. Then they frog marched her down to the police station and put her, according to her family, in a holding cell before filing a formal juvenile complaint accusing Alicia of simple battery and damage to property. In case I didn't mention it before, this girl is 6 years old. Her aunt, who went to the station with her mother to collect her, said this.
You will damage a child psychologically by doing something up to that nature. That can damage a child for life. I was just horrified, really. That really hurt me to my heart.
Now, you might have thought that with the benefit of time and hindsight, the school and the police may just have realised they'd made a shocking, awful error of overreactive judgment. But not a bit of it. The acting police chief, Dre Swycord, held a brief news conference this afternoon and stood firmly by his officer's actions. He said the child was placed in handcuffs for her safety and the safety of others, of course, because these 6-year-old girls can be a real handful for fully grown male policemen, can't they? Now, because of her age, Alicia can't be charged with a crime and will not therefore go to court, but she has been suspended from school until August. Now, when I first heard about the story, I assumed it was either exaggerated or a joke, but it was neither. What it was, I'm afraid, was an example of petty-minded bureaucracy gone completely barking mad, of silly little people failing every common sense test available to them and going bonkers. Let me spell it out to those responsible in language even their minuscule brains may possibly understand loudly and clearly. You put a 6-year-old girl in handcuffs. Shame on you all. That's all for us tonight.